So Leute, das wird heute ein etwas längeres Video werden, aber ich verspreche euch eins, es wird sich wirklich lohnen, dran zu bleiben, denn Leute, wir befinden uns hier bei Akrapovic. Über 6 Jahre ist es für mich her, dass ich hier gewesen bin. Damals E63S AMG haben wir die Akrapovic-Anlage verbaut. Wir befinden uns hier in dem Headquarter und wir haben die exklusive Möglichkeit bekommen, euch hier mitzunehmen, wirklich hinter die Kulissen zu schauen, denn es steckt hier einfach so viel Geschichte dahinter und wir dürfen mal wirklich schauen, wie wird überhaupt so eine Akrapovic-Abgasanlage gefertigt. Und ich meine, Leute, schaut mir hin, wir haben hier den 9C63S Vierzylinder und wie wir ja wissen, das Auto klingt serienmäßig. Bedeutet, wenn es jemand hinbekommt, hier einen guten Sound rauszuholen, dann ist es Akrapovic. Es handelt sich hier, wie wir sehen können, um einen reinen Prototyp-Auspuff. Und vielleicht dürfen wir das Auto sogar noch starten. Ne? Schauen wir mal. The right person is here.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Akrapovic, yeah. Nice to have you here.
Thank you very much. You are going to show us around.
Yes, yes.
And
With pleasure.
Somebody told me maybe we are allowed to start the car later.
Yeah, we will try to prepare it and maybe, yeah, we do a sound check.
I think for the community it's going to be very interesting. I just mentioned like they need to watch the video, so maybe in the end we are allowed to start the video and give a little sound check, but it's not going to be the only sound check. I think there will be more cars we are allowed to start, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah, let's go to R&D department.
Alright.
First stage.
Ach so, übrigens, Robert, halt werden mal wieder richtig die Englisch-Skills rausgepackt, oder? Hä?
Macht's komplett, Mann.
Aber weißt du was? Das ist sowas von wurscht, Leute, weil der Sound ist viel wichtiger. Also ich versuche so wenig wie möglich zu reden. Also jalla, auf geht's jetzt.
So, this is the first step. This is the R&D hall. This is, let's say, at least for the operational stages, the first stage where we start the project. Normally we have 3 types of projects, to be honest. You know, there are aftermarket, OEM and racing projects. And with the aftermarket, we normally get the cars in-house, right? So work on the cars.
Yes.
And the complete procedure, you know, in R&D hall takes place, of course, also in the offices where we get the information from our sales team for commercial part. What are the projects which are to be developed, right? This is extremely important for us because based on the sales plan, we also plan our activities, right? And that's why it's extremely important where to start, when to start, and that we are in scope of the project time-wise. So we have normally 3 stages of development. The first stage is developing of a product, which is called R&D phase, obviously. Then the technological phase, and then the production phase. We don't have the strict lines in between them because the teams need to work together in order to get the product in line with expectations and requirements from our sales team.
Yeah.
That's important because we develop the product specially for certain markets.
Okay.
In most cases.
Yes.
That means that we need to, of course, as R&D, follow strict requirements and also comments or ideas, you know, from our sales team.
And I see we have here a very nice new M2. I remember the place here very well because back in 2018, the E63 was here.
Yeah.
And got a very nice Akrapovic system. And now there's a very nice M2.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we put quite a lot of effort into developing this exhaust system. Okay, installed on the car is a slip-on system, but we have also several other options, you know, like not really homologated version for race use only.
Yes.
But it has also some of the carbon parts, which we are also developing as a package, you know.
So this version, it's like this kind of slip-on. This one is fully homologated.
Homologated, exactly.
Right, I understand.
So it has the EC type approval according to the R5103 Mission standard, and this is street legal.
Okay.
Completely. But let's say this is one part, so during the time, you know, from E63, let's say, to this time, we had several, of course.
Of course, yeah, of course. I mean, that's 6 years. 6 years now. It's a big difference, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Amazing, yeah.
But the main focus here is, let's say, for us, R&D, the main goal is to develop something which we set, you know, or we get from the sales department to the market. So
of course.
that the product reflects what we had an idea to offer.
Yeah.
So we can maybe, you know, also look at some parts where we can see what we can do is, let's say, something which we are really proud of. We have several technologies, mainly focusing on our prime material, which is titanium, and obviously, like I mentioned, carbon fiber.
Yeah.
And it needs to, some of these or majority of these technologies need to reflect from our products, right? And this is something which we need to take care of. You know,
Yeah.
customer pays a lot of money for that, and we want to be shown throughout our products.
I
So
know
let's
what
say-
that is. That looks very much to GT3 RS.
Exactly, you're right. So it's the GT3 RS, the 3D metal DMLS printed part. So it's part of the limited edition one. It's not assembled, obviously.
Yes.
This is just the raw part.
Yes.
But these are, let's say, the headers where we really put a lot of effort into it.
Wait. Es wiegt einfach gar nichts. It's so light. It's insane.
So this is made from titanium. It has some of the cast parts, you know, like the front flange, then the connection on the primary
Yeah.
tubes. It has the casted collector, obviously the metallic three-way catalytic converter, and also some of the forming parts which we are normally using, you know, like
Yeah.
end parts, pipes, that's obvious. But what I wanted to say is that it's a lot of effort also from the engineering point of
Of
view,
course.
where we did all the simulations, you know, CFD, thermomechanical simulations, just to guarantee that performance-wise this
Yes.
delivers the most.
Yes.
Right? And we are trying to get the most out of the engine and also the
Yes.
configuration.
Not only the sound, the whole performance, the whole
Exactly.
experience.
The package, yeah.
Yes.
That's why we have also some of the, let's say, not emission, but sound elements integrated, like quarter length pipes,
Yes.
which attenuate, you know, some of the frequencies which are annoying. And that's the part where we start normally with the sound, you know,
Yep.
eliminate the unwanted noise and just get a richer, deeper, you know, it depends on the character, but the sound which we want on that certain car,
Yes.
right? So this is, let's say, for us at least, you know, a pinnacle of the engineering and also the product which we are really proud of.
It looks stunning. It looks really, really stunning. For example, when we are talking now about the GT3 RS, from the beginning
Yeah.
to the finish,
Yeah.
developing everything, how much time did it take you? Like really starting from the beginning on the dyno, you know, then developing the exhaust system. How long did that take you?
So usually it takes 7 to 8 months.
Wow.
So from the beginning to the end,
Wow.
it's quite a procedure, right? But let's say it depends, it varies a bit on the
Yes.
complexity of the exhaust, of course. With the GT3 RS, you know, it's quite complex. Maybe we did it in 8 or 9 months there somewhere. But we try to be, you know, as quickly as possible. So time to market is extremely important
Yes.
for us. It's one of the parameters, you know, that we follow during
Yes.
the project. And that's why I mentioned, you know, it's really important when we enter the
Yes.
market, you know, what are the marketing sales
Yes, of
activities
course.
in order to get it
Of
right.
course. Yeah, of course. But 7-8 months, that's really a long time. But like this, you feel that's like 100%, you know, like how much time you invest into producing this kind of product.
With the GT3 RS, we had the flexibility of, you know, designing the elements
Yes.
nearly as we like it, you know, because
Amazing.
it's the casting, you know.
Schau dir das mal an, Robert. Hier, da überall noch so zusätzlich. Das ist so stunning. Piece of art.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, each project brings us some of the not difficulties, challenges which we
Yeah.
are dealing with, but the main focus is that we want product to reflect that kind of effort, you know.
Yes.
It's something which we want that the customer recognizes when buying our exhaust. It's attention to detail,
Yes.
honestly speaking. So this is what we are taking care of. So also with the dyno, it's also one milestone, a big milestone for us, where we sign off, okay, performance is okay.
Yeah.
But there are, like I mentioned, several, you know, steps before getting there.
Of course.
These are, let's say, some of the parameters where we normally take care of. You know, it's measuring the power and the torque.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, air fuel ratio, you know, the back pressure, which is extremely important. And then depending on the project, also the temperatures, which is extremely important for the most vital parts in our exhaust. These are the valves and some other critical hotspot areas, and also vibration. This is also something which can be done here. So yeah, it's quite a complex, let's say, procedure to get the product working, right?
Insane.
Ja.
Also das jetzt schon hier bei der ersten Stage zu sehen, wie viel Aufwand da reingesteckt wird. Also unglaublich. Ich bin mal wirklich gespannt, wenn wir jetzt da gleich weitergehen. Und Leute, wir dürfen euch ja mehr oder weniger wirklich hier alles zeigen, was hier bei Akrapovic so dahinter steckt. Also ich bin mal wirklich gespannt, wo es jetzt gleich für uns als nächstes hingeht.
The foundry process starts with a 3D model. Out of this 3D model, we prepare a tool for injecting the wax. And the first step of the casted part processing is wax model.
Yes.
This wax is later glued on cluster and then is sent further to ceramic. In ceramic, we start to applying ceramic layer by layer. So we start with the first layer, 1 millimeter, and then dry it and add layer.
Yeah.
The wax is still inside. Later on, we put the complete shell into the furnace. The wax is melted away and inside is remaining a hole. This shell is then ready for pouring. Then we need to prepare titanium. So we get from production technological scrap of from laser cutting from pipe production, and we need to shred it, wash it, and then we make a briquette. This briquette is incoming material for melting. We place in the furnace, we melt down, heat it up, and then we cast it directly into the shell. Then when the shell is casted, we need to clean it the ceramic away, shot blast it, and then we get final casted parts, which needs to be inspected.
Of course.
Some welded, some small defects,
Yeah.
grinded, need to be visually perfect, technological perfect. And then this casted part is later on mounted on the exhaust system, or is also usable for some other application. If we don't work with the wax, if we have rising parts or if we have some prototype, then we don't produce wax, but we use 3D printing.
Ah, okay.
So we made a 3D print of the wax, glue it on the cluster, and we cast it on the same way, and we get a prototype or some racing application which they need different shape.
Yes.
So that is in very short and in general.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Lots of process, lots of.
Yeah, it's very addicted to details.
Very complex.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Welcome.
Wahnsinn, oder? Hey, das hört nicht auf. Es gibt nicht auch nur eine einzige Station, wo es nicht so spannend ist. Also es geht einfach weiter. So, schauen wir mal, wo es als nächstes hingeht, oder?
Coming to the laboratory of material testing, and I guess, Robert, you're the man.
Hi.
Hello.
Michael, nice to meet you. Hi.
So welcome to the lab. What we do here is controlling material. It means checking the material that we order, if it's according to standards or specification, and also test new material on the market that are appropriate for exhaust. What we do here in the lab is checking material properties, so chemical composition, hardness measurement, checking weld quality.
Okay.
So we weld a lot here, and we check also how we do weld quality. We also do 100% control of the material from the casting facility, from titanium castings, and try to solve some reclamation claim. If something is broken, then we try to figure out what's the reason behind. Either it's material fault, is rider fault because he crashed, or I don't know, temperature was too high for material and so on, and try then to help R&D and quality department to improve our products.
Right, I understand. And like, how long does it usually take, like a standard process?
So mainly on a daily basis, we do about 30 analysis of material from foundry. So it means that about 3 hours we check everything that was casted this day. So when we check then chemical composition, hardness and also gas content.
And there it looks. Schau mal hin, Robert. Das sieht interessant aus, du.
Here, this is the weld actually. So this is 3 sheets of metal. One is bended, straight and strained, welded together. And this, what you see here, is weld. So it was welded from here up to here.
Wow.
So we are measuring. So 3 thicknesses, 1.2, 0.9 and 1.2 were welded together. And then we are measuring how deep is penetration of the weld, what is the minimum cross section of the weld, and what is the minimum seam of the weld.
Yes.
And there's some standard behind, and we check if those measurements are inside. If they're inside, this means that this kind of weld is okay.
Amazing.
This means that we destroy the part. So if you have a muffler, we cut out the welds, polish them, check them here, and say, okay, this was okay, but we destroyed it. But yeah, this is how the actual check is done.
Stunning. Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much. Wahnsinn, oder? Wie, Robert, hä? Wie komplex das Ganze ist.
Also, da ist schon viel dahinter.
Also du merkst einfach, also jetzt schon direkt gleich von Anfang an, wie komplex hier wirklich gearbeitet wird und mit wie viel Herzblut hier gearbeitet wird. Also ich bin gespannt, wenn wir jetzt gleich weitergehen.
So we are now in the measuring department, and this is a very important department for us because we check many things. If we want to follow the CAD model, which is the reference for us, then we need to also check what it comes out of the production. So we have certain measuring devices here. Let's say, for instance, the 3D scanning camera and the measuring device. And we are measuring more or less the parts and also the jigs and tools. And this is important for us so that we know what we produce and what is the outcome, let's say, like I mentioned before. So we can maybe look at this part. This is the tailpipe from our, let's say, one of the newest projects which we've done. So the Ferrari 296 GTB is a tailpipe.
I was already wondering, like, for which car is that? But now we know it.
Yeah, it's quite a complex part.
Yes.
Because it's manufactured with forming processes and also the DMLS, so the printing, and it's also carbon fiber which is attached to it, bolted.
Wow.
And it needs to come to a certain visually good-looking, complete, group of components, right? Product in the end. And the colleague is checking, how this part is compared to the CAD model which we actually done in the computer environment.
Can you calculate around how many time you already invested into just this part?
During the development, for sure. Because, as I mentioned, we have some of the complex parts. Let's say, for instance, the bottom part is the form part.
Yeah.
So this part is like a base for everything else. And during the assembly or manufacturing, we also measure certain parts.
Yes.
And we see where we are. Yeah. So some of the parts are done in the jigs.
Yeah.
So we can measure, what are the discrepancies or errors on the jig. But also the jig is measured here.
Yes.
So it's also, let's say, some other part which is more or less technological nature.
Yes.
That means that also the jig needs to be set up in a way that the product meets the tolerances which we set.
Right.
This is one step forward.
Yeah.
But these devices and the guys here are helping us to understand the behavior of the material when we assemble the part together.
Yes. Amazing.
So this is one way of scanning or measuring, and the other one is measured on the measuring device. We call it size. And this is also one of our products which we are proud of. It's a part of the tailpipe for the GT3 RS, the newest one, the limited edition. And this is the metal printed part from titanium. It's a special design that we were, let's say, finalizing for quite a while, but it's only a part of it. Yeah. So this is what you actually asked me before. This is, let's say, one part of the complete process, right? Yeah. And there comes also some other parts which are attached and just gathers then the final product.
Amazing. That's so complex. Ja. Ich meine, Leute, jetzt haben wir gerade erst mal angefangen. Ihr seht, wie komplex das schon ist. allein nur hier dieser kleine Part für 992 GT3 RS, was da Aufwand dahinter steckt, das ist schon wirklich verrückt.
So maybe one part which I haven't mentioned or just briefly is that we measure also all the jigs and tools.
Yeah.
Because of course these are the main drivers for getting to the final product. The geometry of the final product.
Yes.
So very important department for us.
I can imagine. Amazing.
Right.
Okay.
Let's go forward.
Ready.
Right. So we are now in front of the scan box, Atos scan box, and the main purpose of this procedure is, let's say, especially for the small production series, to check whether this product is within the geometry limits, so the tolerances. It's similar to what we were experiencing before, but this is industrialized, so robotized measurement, which is normally done very quickly. And for certain, let's say, small production parts, we don't do the normal control jigs where we can control it. We put the assembled product or manufactured product on the jig and check all the tolerances. We don't do that, and we measure it here.
Right, I understand.
The point is that we save on the tools.
Okay.
Let's say for the for the quantities which are not largely in the production, we do that.
Yes.
And it's quite a fast and accurate procedure.
Yeah.
So guys are now checking one motorcycle exhaust muffler, and you can see there on the upper monitor.
Yes.
What are the discrepancies considering compared to the CAD model.
Right.
So this gives us the idea where we need to improve, what we need to do, or on the other hand, if this doesn't meet our quality demands, then it goes to the refurbishment or the remanufacturing.
Yes.
This is also one of the possibilities.
Right.
So that we guarantee that this is something which we had in mind in the first place, right?
Of course.
Oh yeah, he is going. So the same camera, scanning camera, 3D scanning camera is placed on the robot, and based on the program which we then do here, the robot moves, around, and the table also turns, so it gets all the surfaces and all the details of the product, and then it compares it in the end to the CAD model which is in the computer.
Und was da Arbeit, was da Aufwand dahinter steckt. Jetzt haben wir ja bisher noch keine 10% gesehen, aber das ist ja verrückt. Die hauen schon wieder alles zusammen hier da. Das ist ja fast wie beim Obermeier da. Alles haut er zusammen. Naja, aber Leute, also das ist schon... Ich hätte niemals gedacht, dass das so ein extremer Aufwand ist, was da Arbeit dahinter steckt. Das ist unfassbar.
Welcome, you are in our motorcycle durability lab. Here we test our motorcycles. It's tested by our driver called Sabrina. She's the driver which doesn't complain. So what I can say, it's also part of our design. One of her hand was designed in our company to drive the gas. So what we test here, we test motorcycles up to 30,000 kilometers. So quite long test. We can go up to 200 kilometers. We have very strong blower which cools the motorcycle so that conditions are real as possible. So we do everything shifting. And what we test, we want to see that our products withstand everything what our customer will do. And we want to be sure that our products are reliable and they keep their function till the end of lifetime. We also test materials like damping wool and other components.
So it's also possible, like you can really drive certain roads or, for example, specific racetracks. Is that possible?
Yes, correct. If we have recorded everything like speed, shifting and everything, our engineers behind the control table can program everything, and we can run test laps over and over again. Yeah,
that's amazing. So maybe we can listen to it.
Yeah, we will ask our engineers to start and have Sabrina
a little
alive.
bit sound.
Yeah.
So Leute, jetzt kommen wir zu einem sehr wichtigen Thema, denn Akrapovic hat ja wirklich von der Historie damit begonnen, mit Racing, ja. Und dementsprechend befinden wir uns jetzt hier in der Racing-Abteilung und wir haben meinen Namenskollegen mit dabei und er wird uns jetzt hier ein bisschen was erklären. So you're going to show us around a little bit of all the history, right?
Correct, correct. As you know, Akrapovic was born from the racing, where the founder, the Igor Akrapovic, was firstly doing the bikes, racing them, of course.
Exactly.
And that turned into the production of exhaust later on. The business with racing teams was present all the time from the beginning, but later on the company got bigger and a separate department was established inside the company.
Yes.
This is us. This is the racing department where we work with the racing teams, manufacturers worldwide.
Yep.
Basically, our main goal is to work with the manufacturers on the top world level, so MotoGP, World Superbike, MXGP, Rally, all the top motorcycle categories that they represent themselves, and where we also want to represent ourselves.
Roughly, like how many motorsport teams are you working together?
This year, over 170 partners.
Wow.
So many riders are equipped with our exhausts and race them
Yeah, that's
all over the
amazing.
world.
I remember last year when I went to the MotoGP final in Valencia, like you were walking around and everywhere you could see Akrapovic.
Correct, because we have 80% of the riders
Yes.
use our exhaust in MotoGP.
Yeah.
The same goes with World Superbike, even a few percent more, but this is where we are.
Oh yeah, I know that. And those are like kind of all the winner bikes, or?
Yeah, most of these bikes were winning some of the championships or more championships over the years, and they were acquired from manufacturers and a special deal and so on to be represented in our museum or collection.
Yes.
Many of them special bikes, many of them prototypes. Some are modified stocks bikes like super bikes, and probably this will be the most interesting, the GP bikes. And also one of the most famous Moto2 bikes is among them, the number 93.
Number 93, exactly.
Right. We are now in the racing department, Dino testing room and workshop. This is where we prepare the bikes before we put them on the dyno to test the different configurations, prototypes that we prepare.
Mm-hmm.
Inside is our dyno, where we test all the MXGP bikes, MotoGP, Superbikes, and so on, everything that we do on, we test. Up here is the reminder of our successes from the last year. So on the champions from the moto segment in the 23. This is the place where the, let's say, magic happens.
Yes.
On the average road-going bike, we do about 500 runs for each specification of the exhaust to arrive.
Amazing.
Inside these are many prototypes that are tested, compared between each other, and so on. So about 500 runs, this is between 200 and 300 kilometers on the dyno.
Yeah.
The speed goes up to, let's say, about 290 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
We also use the wind to replicate the cooling of the bike, the pressure inside the airbox, and so on. This is the important thing. We also control the temperature of the air, so to have all the time constant temperature to compare the specifications between us more correctly.
And like, I mean, now this is just the racing part of Akrapovic. How many people are working here in that specific part?
In the racing department?
Yes.
In the racing department, we are 16 people.
Okay.
But this is, let's say, like a project office.
Yes.
We deal with projects, with design,
Yeah.
with shipments, invoices, contracts, and so on.
Yes.
And we use other departments of the company to actually produce the exhaust.
Of course.
Production,
Yes.
prototype workshop,
Yes.
and so on.
Okay.
So this is the 16 people that work directly with teams, with bikes,
Yes.
engineering, let's say office, I would say. Correct.
Cool. Amazing. Thank you very much for showing us around.
No problem.
Ja, Leute.
Yeah, sure.
Also Leute, also es ist Wahnsinn, oder, Robert?
Yes, krass.
Es ist, was hier dahinter steckt an Arbeit, an Zeitaufwand. Langsam verstehe ich wirklich, was hier bei dieser Marke so dahinter steckt, warum die Abgasanlagen ihren bestimmten Preis haben, ja, weil du es ganz einfach mit keiner anderen Marke vergleichen kannst. Und vor allem, ihr seht es ja, Leute, hier hat alles angefangen mit Akrapovic, wirklich mit dem Racing, ja. Und daran siehst du einfach allein, wenn über 170 Teams hier diese Marke bei ihrem Motorrad verbaut haben, das ist halt wirklich verrückt. Und da merkst du einfach, Qualität, Performance, alles stimmt. Von A bis Z wird hier durchgetestet bis zum finalen Stand. Und ja, ich würde mal sagen, jetzt schauen wir mal, wo es für uns als nächstes hingeht, oder? So Leute, jetzt die Anlage kennen wir so ähnlich aufgebaut wie nämlich bei meinem E63. Wir sehen es nämlich hier so schön an den Carbonblenden. Ne? Und I think best is you will explain us now the whole system. Okay. Because that's much easier than when I explain it.
With pleasure, no problem. So this is the S63 system, which was presented back in 2015 at Frankfurt Motor Show. These, at that time, it was presented as a new breed of exhaust systems from us because we implemented all the simulations and also laboratory testing, which is now, or in course of, I don't know, a few years afterwards, embedded into all the projects, also
Yes.
our aftermarket projects.
Yes.
And this is something which for us engineers, makes a difference because we have some kind of proof that the exhaust works also on the market.
Yes.
And this system represents mainly all the technologies which we have also in the company. And from, let's say, tube mill, because we produce the tubes ourselves, titanium tubes, tube bending, which I can say that we do this job really great because there are no wrinkles or some kind of mistakes on it. Then forming, all sorts of forming, this is also two shell.
Yeah.
All sorts of welding, Then what we did at that time was a special configuration NVH-like, which was also maybe a new direction in a thinking or in a development. It has also our valves inside, like majority of our exhaust systems, which the housings are cast in our titanium, in our titanium foundry. And we have all the parts which are manufactured in-house. Yeah. It's also a two-shell design of the tailpipes. Yeah. So the cones, the inner liners actually of the tailpipes, and like you mentioned it before, the carbon fiber.
The carbon fiber,
which
yes.
had at that time also the metal
Exactly
drive inside.
Yes.
Yeah. This is
It looks
also
so
something
cool.
special.
I love it on the E63. It's so nice.
And also at that point we introduced this X part.
Yes.
Which is an active X part. It has the oval-shaped flap inside, which is manipulated with a vacuum actuator. Nowadays, of course, we supplement that with an electric actuator, like on the rear. But at that time, this is also patented. But at that time, that was a revolutionary, let's say, idea. And we did some of the exhausts afterwards where we did manufacture or integrate this in the exhaust system, which was not initially in place. Mm-hmm. So it gives us, especially the V6 or V8s, especially, a different perception of the sounds.
Of the sounds, yes.
Yeah, a different nature, depending on the flap position.
Exactly.
Which gives then a special note to the emotions of the driving.
Exactly.
So this was actually the major point. But the main topic here is that whatever we did as an R&D phases with this exhaust, we have them in the, let's say, in our aftermarket or OEM exhaust now. Nowadays, it's a daily business, actually.
Of course.
That's the main focus. And we have also the ceramic coating, which is, let's say, in majority of our systems, also put in as a protective layer
Yeah.
for the elevated temperatures. So to eliminate the oxidation and the elevated temperatures.
Can you calculate, like on one system, like how many people in total work on one system, like from the beginning to the finish? Can you calculate that?
That's really hard to say, but I would say that, you know, because we have to imagine here that all the parts are manufactured in different locations.
Exactly.
Majority. So I would reckon a few hundreds.
Yeah.
For sure. It's
amazing.
insane, yeah.
That's amazing. Leute, das müsst ihr euch mal vorstellen. Da arbeiten einfach ein paar hundert Leute an einem so einem kompletten Akrapovic Abgasanlagensystem dran. Das ist schon, und daher entsteht einfach dieser, auf der einen Seite der Preis, aber eben dieser extrem hohe Aufwand, aber dann letzten Endes die Qualität, die Experience, die du wirklich da dabei hast. Ich sehe es ja bei meinem E63, beim GT3 RS, beim 4x4, das ist unfassbar, einfach der Sound. That's, really stunning.
What is then stunning is also, like you mentioned, you know, we are all doing that in order to get the product, you know, on the best top quality level. Meaning also on that, let's say, all these simulations and whatever we put in reflects into then the lighter exhaust system, which performance, which has the sound which we like, because the sound matters, of course. And also, on the other hand, that it's durable.
Yeah.
You know, and I also mentioned the visual aspect of the exhaust system, which is of course one of the major points, aspects. Yeah. So, yeah.
Amazing.
It's quite a lot of work.
Amazing. So, würde ich sagen, schauen wir weiter, oder Robert? So Leute, das war's mit Part 1 hier bei Akrapovic. Seid gespannt auf das nächste Video, denn für uns geht es jetzt weiter in die Fabrik, wo alle Abgasanlagen produziert werden. Und jetzt zum Abschluss, wie versprochen, wird es den Soundcheck geben, hier von dem neuen C63S. Also ich bin mal gespannt auf eure Kommentare. Kommentiert mal drunter, was haltet ihr von dem Sound hier beim neuen C63S mit dem Vierzylinder. Von daher würde ich sagen, let's go!